Wood consists of tubular cells whose long axes are parallel to the long axis of the trunk. The cells are made up of cellulose and are held together by lignin. The direction of the long axis of the cells is known as the grain of the wood. Softwoods come from coniferous trees and are cone-bearing with needle-like leaves which remain during colder winter months. Hardwoods come from broadleaf trees and normally drop their leaves seasonally. Softwoods are usually softer than hardwoods. Each log is stripped of its bark, then passed repeatedly through a large head saw. This is either a circular or band saw. This reduces the log into untrimmed slabs of lumber. The sawyer judges how to obtain the maximum marketable wood to prevent fire hazard and possible decay. Modern sawmills have assistance from computerized systems. Moisture content is the amount of water present in the wood. This is measured by the weight of the water in wood in a percentage of the weight of dry wood. The wood is first weighed in a wet state, then placed in an oven and dried. The weight while wet minus the weight while dry divided by the weight while dry give the moisture content. Each piece of lumber is graded for appearance or structural properties. Structural grading is used to rate the strength and stiffness of the lumber. Appearance grading is used to rank the visual qualities of the lumber for its potential use. Lumber sizes in the U.S. are given as nominal dimensions in inches. Due to the changing moisture content and manufacturing tolerances, never assume that a piece of lumber will be precisely what it is expected to be. Dimension lumber is usually supplied in 2-foot increments. Lumber is classified into two basic classes, hardwood and softwood. The unique thing about wood is that it is produced by a living tree, unlike other construction materials. Because lumber is produced by a living tree, it possesses significant properties which are useful in construction. Large wood structural members are made by gluing together smaller strips of wood. 3 major reasons to laminate: size, shape, and quality. Curves and angles that may not be achieved in nature are very well possible with laminating wood. Structural composite lumber is also known as engineered lumber. This is a substitute for solid lumber. LSL, laminated strand lumber, and OSL, oriented strand lumber, are made from shredded wood strands that are coated with adhesive, then heated and pressed. WPC, wood plastic composite, are made from blends of plastic with wood or agricultural fibers. WPC decking is made from blends of polyethylene and polypropylene and wood fiber, usually secured with hardware that resists corrosion. Wood light frame construction was the first American building system. Two technological breakthroughs accelerated the development of light framing: water-powered sawmills and machine-made nails. Conventional platform frames are made of 2.5-inch members. Each plane of structure in a platform frame is made by aligning pieces of framing lumber parallel to each other at certain intervals. Connections are made with nails. Most light frame buildings are built on shallow foundations. These consist of spread footings, basement walls, and slabs on grade. For larger structures, a deeper foundation and footings must be used. The system assembling close-spaced studs by nailing is called building the frame. Walls are formed with either 2x4 or 2x6 pieces of lumber that are vertical. The 2x4 has been the standard size for a wall stud since framing was invented, with new codes calling for more thermal insulation. Walls are now framed with 2x6 lumber to allow more room for insulations. Spacing studs at 24 inches instead of 16 inches requires less lumber. International Building Code allows almost every occupancy building to be constructed with a wood flat platform framing. This is classified as Type 5 construction. There is quite relatively strict restrictions on height and floor area with light frame construction. Balloon framing. The wall studs extend from the sill of the first story all the way to the top plate of the second story. This began in the 1830s and is used studs instead of using heavier supports called posts. These were nailed together instead of using joinery. Platform framed walls have studs that are independent on each floor. The name comes from each floor level being framed as a separate platform. The standard wooden framing method used today is called platform framing. A joist is a part of a series of horizontal structural members that support a ceiling or floor. Joists are supported by foundations, wall framing, or beams. Joists are made of engineered wood, or steel. A beam is a structural piece that resists loads and that are applied laterally to the direction of the beams. A beam deflects bending or sagging. Beams are classified by their support, profile, length, and the material they are made of. A rim joist is a final joist that caps the end of a row of joists which support a ceiling or floor. This completes a box in which is formed to support a floor or ceiling. A header is what connects the rim joist. Subfloors lay over the beams or joists. They are most commonly made of 2 layers of moisture-resistant plywood. Some high-quality projects will have 3 layers. The layers of a subfloor are 3/4 inch thick plywood or sheeting. A wall stud is a vertical framing piece with a smaller cross-section than a post. Studs are primary element in frame building. Studs are either made of 2x4 or 2x6 pieces of lumber. A sill is a horizontal piece of metal or wood that is on the bottom of a window or exterior door. A sill plate is a piece of lumber that rests on the foundation of a building which supports the frame. A sill plate is a bottom horizontal member of a wall or building that vertical members are attached. Strips of foam are laid between the concrete foundation and the sill plate, which is made of lumber. A bottom plates are the lowest member of a frame wall. These are attached directly to the floor system. Bottom plates are along the full length of all walls except where there are door openings. A trimmer or metal beam is which is used to create an opening around a stairwell, installed parallel to the floor or ceiling joist. A trimmer supports joists at an opening in the floor or the ceiling. A jack stud is used to support a header at each end. They fit underneath each end of a header. They transfer the load from the header to the bottom plate of framing underneath. A king stud is a special type of stud used to support an opening, such as doors or windows. The king stud on each side of the frame strengthens the support around an opening. These are almost always required by code for a door or window. A header spans an opening for a window or door. A header can also be used for a cutout in the floor or roof. A header carries the loads of the shorter studs, rafters, or joists that end at the cutouts or openings. Sheathing is a board used in roof, floor, and wall assemblies. Its main purpose is to provide a surface covering up the frame, allowing a finished product to be attached. Siding and roofing is held down by nailing through sheathing. A shear wall is made up of braced panels to make up for the lateral load acting on a structure. Plywood is the main product used in making a shear wall. Steel shear panels have been used and allow stronger resistance. A diagonal brace that is let into a stud. This provides lateral strength to the wall. These studs go at a 45-degree angle to the normal studs. A rafter extends from the ridge of a structure to the top of a wall plate. It is designed to support the roof deck and the roofing material. Rafters must take into account the loads such as snow and rain. A ridge beam is a beam that runs along the top of the roof. The rafters are attached to the ridge beam, holding the roof in place. A ridge beam is often larger than other beams used in construction on the roof. A collar tie is a horizontal roof rafter connector, used to prevent rafters from separating from the ridge of the roof. Collar ties are used to prevent failures caused by snow and wind loads. A valley rafter is the rafter which runs from the wall plate to the ridge of a roof structure. This follows the line of the valley on a roof. This rafter supports the valley of a roof structure. A valley jack rafter is a rafter in a roof system that is cut shorter than a common rafter. This connects a valley rafter and a ridge of a roof structure. This extends a valley rafter to a hip rafter. A hip rafter is a type of roof in which all sides slope downwards to the walls. These roofs usually have fairly small slope. A hipped roof has no gables or any type of vertical sides to the roof. A hip jack rafter is also known as a short rafter. This is one of the shorter rafters used in a hip or valley roof. This can also be referred to as a secondary roof timber. Rake is a border or molding that is put along the sloping edge of a frame gable. It can be used to cover the edges of siding. Rake also measures the amount of slant or incline of a roof system. A lookout is a wooden joist that extends out from the exterior wall. This supports the roof and gives a nailing structure for fascia boards. A fly rafter is a gable end rafter which runs parallel to the common rafters. The fly rafter is supported by the lookout rafter.